Welcome to the Rubio Method. Venture into the unfiltered world of Chris Rubio. The Rubio Method delivers an unapologetically edgy take on the often overlooked world of men's mental health. Rubio, a master communicator, wields a potent knack for no BS enlightenment. Step into this no-nonsense arena, where men are challenged to evolve and confront the man staring back at them from the mirror.
Focus up. I'm talking to you, Randy Chevrolet. Randy is part of the ride with Chevy and Nasty. We're going to have actually Nasty on later, but Chevy is not, because he's going to get some all-star award from his high school. We're inducting him into the Hall of Fame or anything. But the problem is, he just sent me a picture of him on a plane, taking his shoes off and eating a hot teriyaki chicken sub from Subway on the plane. That's pure disgusting. They should kick you off the plane. And he's also one of those people that recline. So he's double dead to me. I don't understand this concept of taking off your shoes, bringing in stinky food, and reclining. Just unacceptable. What is acceptable is you watching episode 80 of the Rubio Method. We're going to have a great show. We're live on X, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and tomorrow it'll be on iTunes and Spotify as well. Jenna just informed me she takes her shoes off as well, and it's in all caps. So I'm assuming her feet are double stinky. That's why it's in all caps. And that's also disgusting unless you've got some sort of great socks. But the risk of your feet stinking is absolutely terrible. We've got a great show. We're going to have four different guests. One guest is going to be a tandem husband and wife that are just fantastic. I talk about them every single show. But what else are we going to cover? Well, let's see. We're going to talk about why my grandmother was so mean and what it taught me. We're going to talk about El Trumpo picking up a shift at Mickey D's baby. We're going to talk about what in the actual hell are we putting into our bodies with MD and Chef all the way from New Zealand, baby. Then we're going to talk about why are Gen Z dudes not dating anymore with Kyle Varnell. He's one of my old long-snappers, great guy. He's like a Labrador puppy on speed. He's out in the Nashville area. He's single, and he's going to give us some insight on this. We're going to be talking about, is being too proud worth it in the long run? And last, we're going to talk to Sheldon Napastook. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I just call him Nasty. About if people should care what Tua Tagovailoa, I can't pronounce his name, the Miami Dolphins quarterback, is doing to himself and his brain. All of that and much more on today's episode 80 of the Rubio Method. Jenna, I'm out.
You have been watching the Rubio Method. Take it away, Rubio.
Focus up. I'm talking to Jenna's hairdresser. Why am I talking to Jenna's hairdresser? Because Jenna just showed me before, like we do our little pre-show trial run, whatever, that I said, oh, you got your hair dyed? Because it's normally brown or I don't even know what the hell color it normally is. I'm just a dude. I see hair. It's brown or blonde. And then it would have blonde streaks. And she goes, oh, yeah, I did it like 2 months ago or 2 weeks ago. And I go, okay, what the hell does that mean? And she said, well, she has it done underneath. So if you want to pull it over like a comb over, certain ways it looks blonde. And in certain ways, I guess you can go more conservative and do brown. I didn't know you could hide tinting of your hair. She says you part it differently. Okay, I think dudes just part their hair one way and that's it. I didn't know chicks could do it to where they do double parts or just flip it around. It seems kind of weird and not really safe. Like, because what if I'm going on a date with blonde someone and then boom, they come back and they're brown someone? I don't know if I like that. Women can do a lot you don't even know. True is true, Jenna. Like kill bats in the kitchen. All right, here we go. Everything happens for a reason. All right, so you've heard me talk about my grandmother a lot on this show. We used to call her Maka. Okay, Maka. I think my oldest cousin Dominic came up with it because he couldn't pronounce grandma. You know, when kids are young, they can't pronounce anything, and he would say Maka. And I think he was saying my grandma, but he was too big of an idiot or too young. We'll just go with both. And so he said Maka. So we all called her Maka. And I've described Maka to you before. She passed away a couple years back. I can't remember. I think it might be 10 at this point. But she was 98. She lived a great life, blah, blah, blah. Phenomenal human being, cooked phenomenal meatballs. But she was maybe 5'2", 5'3" at the top, maybe 5'1". I don't know. She was very short, and she was probably 260, 275 pounds of solid muscle. I remember she would try to wrestle me all the way until like my sophomore year of high school, and she would take me down because she was a dirty fighter. Like she was one, I mean, she would stick fingers in places that shouldn't be, and she was just an angry person, and she was built like a damn fire hydrant, so you couldn't knock her over. And yes, I would try to knock her over. I don't even care if I was age 16 and about 310 pounds and probably 6'2". This woman was very violent, and she was friendly, and I would always go at her. When I mean go at her, I'd obviously try to wrestle with her, could never take her down, but I would also go out with her verbally. And as you know, I love to poke the bear, stir the pot a little bit all the time. If you're ever in a big meeting with me, which you probably never would be, but if you are, you know I'm famous for poking the bear. And I used to do that to Mock all the time. And she used to say a phrase to me that I'm going to incorporate to our first story. She would always say, "Christopher, why are you such a ball jar?" And I was like, okay, what the hell does that mean? Because she would say this since I was probably 2 years old on. Ball jar means I want you to picture the male anatomy. Okay. Now go towards the pubic region. Okay. Now she would say that I would jar, I guess, shake, or emotionally, mentally, physically, I don't know what she was saying metaphorically, her balls, which, okay, this was way back in the day, and I'm 99.9% sure my grandmother did not have balls. I don't know how this got on this discussion, but she used to say, "Rubio, or Christopher, you're famous for jarring my balls." All right, so that brings us to our first story. We're going to, nice transition by me there. El Trumpo. Pick one, Jenna. El Trumpo decided that on Sunday, he was going to work at McDonald's. Okay, so you've got this phenomenal photo. He's got this, obviously, a prepped apron. He's got his standard red tie on, white shirt, cufflinks, and all that good thing. And so why did he do this? All right, he's done this because Kamala has come out and said she was a fry cook at McDonald's. Back in the day, she was paying her way through college. Okay, she's paying her way through college. As you know, she grew up in a middle-class family. She said that literally 500 times at this point, even though both of her parents were PhDs, and she lived in a very nice area. I think I want to say Toronto, up there where Jenna lives. And after she was born and raised, I think in the Oakland, San Francisco area. So she had to get this job at McDonald's to get through college. So she says. So El Trumpo finds out about this and says, okay, let's talk about this, because Kamala, she's had 2 memoirs put out. She wrote 2 memoirs saying, hey, this is how great my life was. I mean, usually one memoir does it, I guess. But she's wrote 2. And in the 2, she's never once said anything about McDonald's. And even in other job applications, she never, ever, ever wrote down, oh, hey, I worked at McDonald's. And it's not something to be ashamed about. I know tons of people that have worked at McDonald's. And everyone remembers their quote unquote first job. My first job, I was a paper boy for like an hour and a half until I realized you had to wake up at 4 a.m. So that was done. But then I worked at a place called Nutrisystem in high school. This is my senior year. Nutrisystem was like Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, all those. And I was the guy, I was too fat to work in the front. This is a true story because my aunt was like the manager of it. So she just threw my big ass in the back because at this point I was like 6'3", probably about 315. And so I was the guy they just gave the orders to, and I just packed the food in. That's all I did. I was like, you ordered the macaroni and cheese, here's your box of macaroni and cheese. You ordered the Salisbury steak, here's your Salisbury steak, and so on. So everyone knows their first job. And why would she do this? Because at this point, it looks almost like a lie, because everyone's saying, okay, well, you said you did this, but we can't find any record of it. It's not that big of a deal, but why would you lie about this? And the main reason is because to make her look more relatable. We've talked about this before on the show, how so many of the politicians have been raised in this bubble that they can't even speak on their own. They don't know how to speak like human beings. You ask them, do you like burgers? Oh, I'm like, gosh, I love burgers. Wendy's is my favorite burger, blah, blah, blah. Do you like burgers with mustard? Oh, I like burgers from Wendy's. They don't know how to even veer off because they've never had real conversations. And it looks so odd because now the media, as it always does, is completely backing her on this, which is just, it's so odd that it's taken this turn of events. Jenna, do you have pick number 2? Watch what the media is doing. So they have this article, McDonald's, a college job and a Trump attack. Donald Trump has claimed without evidence that Ms. Harris never worked at the fast food chain. Her campaign and a friend say she did. So now your facts are her campaign and a friend say she did. That without evidence, he's got just as much evidence as she does. And the whole point of it is he's just going to, quote unquote, basically jar her balls. He's going to troll her and do all this. And the best part is El Trumpo is not a common man. He should be the most unrelatable human being on the planet. He should be the most unrelatable politician ever to exist because he's been born a millionaire. Okay, he's now a billionaire. He's had a golden spoon. He's had a lavish life. I mean, I would be willing to bet that El Trumpo, well, he drives a golf cart, but I would be willing to bet he doesn't even know how to drive a car. When do you think the last time he drove a car was? Because he's always in a limo or Secret Service car, things like that. And the thing with El Trumpo is he knows he's not relatable, but he doesn't care. It's one of those things that you hear me say it a lot, and I do it a lot in my business corporation speeches, say, you got to learn to not care. He knows who he is. He's an acquired taste. You've heard me say that before about me. And he's one of those guys that he does not pander. Like when he went to the McDonald's, did he put on just a t-shirt? No. He went in with his full-on blue suit, white shirt, red tie. It is who he is. He put on the apron. And he never panders to the point of like, remember Hillary Clinton? She went to this black caucus thing, and then all of a sudden she pulls out, I carry my own hot sauce. No, you don't. And if you did, you just brought it for this point. I love hot sauce. I love spicy foods. I'm not rolling around with my own hot sauce. I mean, I kind of respect you if you do, but no one's doing that. Or Kamala, however, I think she's up to 4 accents now, where she's had 4 or 5 accents going throughout different times. So when she's talking to Latinos, she sounds like a Mexican. When she's talking to black, she sounds like a black. At one point, she brought out a Jamaican accent. When she speaks to quote unquote whites, she just has this straight English accent. And it's kind of sad. Like, just be who you are. If people don't like you for who you are, that's fine. Who cares? You don't need them in your life. The funny part about this is there's 14 days, well, now there's 12 days left into the election, and this story controlled the media for 48 hours straight. Okay? 48 hours, he controlled the media regulations, basically saying, we're going to talk about El Trumpo at McDonald's. And you're thinking, Rubio, what could they talk about? And they said, oh my God, this is a staged photograph. This McDonald's wasn't even open. No kidding. Did you think that Trump is going to quit Trump Industries and not run for president and he's going to become a fry cook? Did you think that was going to happen? Did you think that? Of course, this was a staged photo op. And someone I saw said Secret Service is checking all the cars that go through the drive-thru. I guess Trump doesn't like to be around enemies. No kidding, idiot. He's been tried to get killed, or they've tried to kill him twice already. Okay, so you don't think they're going to check who's rolling through the drive-thru? You don't think some whack job could find out he's at a Pennsylvania McDonald's and just come through and say, I want a quarter pounder and a Big Mac, and boom, there you goes your head? Obviously, they were pre-screened. It'd be an idiot not to. That's how he's gotten into so much trouble as it is already. So obviously, it was pre-planned, and they've been going on. It's staged. It's staged. It's staged. It's staged. Okay, so let's just flip the page here. And Jenna, I think you have a couple photos for us to look through. Let's see what we got here. Okay, this is one with Nancy Pelosi, Schumer, and all of them with their African scarves. I don't know what the exact name is. This is during George Floyd, when they all kneeled down in 6 foot apart things, completely synchronized. Yeah, I'm sure that wasn't staged. Jenna, do you have a couple more for me? Let's look at this one. Diners tearing to Kamala Harris's campaign for kicking them out of Pittsburgh restaurant to bust in their own crowd for a campaign stunt. This was at Permane Brothers. There was a Permane Brothers. I've been there several times. It's out in Pittsburgh. I think they're all over Pennsylvania. They had a whole crowd in there. Kamala was coming in, and they said, everybody out. We're going to bring in our own crowd of people. That way they can bring in, the white couple, the intermixed couple, the Mexican couple, the Asian couple, the tall couple, the short couple, the couple with kids, the couple with a dog, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, that was obviously staged. What's another one, Jenna? Oh, this was a great one. When AOC, when she was so concerned about the border, she went down there with her $8,000 outfit, and oh my God, she's crying. And then it turns out she's looking at an empty parking lot. Like, if you're going to lie, at least do it right and tell the photographers, just get me from this angle, honey. So that one was a great one where, it's an empty parking lot. It's so sad. Oh, okay. Yeah. Next one, Jenna, I think I've got like 7 more that are fantastic. Oh, this is another great AOC one where she was protesting, and immediately she went out there for the rights of the people and got arrested, put her hands behind her. There's no handcuffs on her. There's not even a zip tie on her. She did that all for the photo. So I would assume that's staged as well. Jenna, do you have a couple more for me? These are great. Oh, I love this one. This is from Anderson Cooper during CNN. This is several years back when there was big hurricanes, and he got in waders all the way up to basically his belly button to show how deep the water is. And the camera guy's up to his ankles. So yeah, man, I could stand in the deep end of a pool and it looks deep too, but I can also go to the shallow end. Jenna, is there any more? Oh, this was on 4th of July when Chuck Schumer said, great 4th of July with my kids, blah, 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 out here grilling it up. And he's got a piece of raw cheese on a raw burger. Okay. Hey, man, just tell me you could never barbecue by telling me you've never barbecued with one pick. Jesus, God, that's embarrassing. Jenna, is there any more or is that the last one? Well, I'm assuming that's the last one. Okay. So the bottom line is this. Everything happens for a reason. He did it. Yes, he did it just for photo ops, 100%. Also prove a point. To prove a point that, okay, why would you lie about this, Kamal? Like, this is something that's so stupid to lie about. It doesn't even make sense that you would lie about it because you're just pandering to people. Oh, yeah, I work the fries. But this is easily verifiable. That's the point of why people are saying, well, why do you even care? I care because this goes back to the fact that her entire campaign is a fraud. 7 months ago, she was voted the worst VP in the history of VPs, and now she's the second coming of Christ and the best things than sliced bread, when her entire thing is just media driven. There's nothing behind her. There's nothing behind her campaign. She was brought in by a coup to overtake El Trumpo, and there's still today she had a big rant about how Trump is Hitler again. Now, when Trump tries another assassination attempt on him, that's going to be why. Because remember, like we talked about, if you had a chance to go kill baby Hitler, would you do it? Yeah, you probably would. Jenna says she knows someone will believe anything she says. Too many cannot trust anyone anymore. 100%. And she knows her base is either they're just ignorant or they're just unknowing, which is the same to me. If you're just watching, like I've said 100 times before, mainstream media over and over and over, you're getting nothing. I have several people just today tell me, Rubio, I love your rundown with Rubio, because every day, you guys know, I'm put on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Facebook, LinkedIn, and X, and Instagram, and TikTok. I put out a rundown with Rubio. It's just all of these, but it's in 3 minutes. So it's 3 minutes, and I just give you quick little points. Also, what I'm going to give you right now is a commercial before we come back with MD and Chef. I cannot wait. Jenna, I'm out.
You have been watching The Rubio Method.
Let's get going, gang!
Our dedicated staff is ready to work for you. Artbeat specializes in custom apparel. Call us or order online. Free shipping nationwide. Custom printed shirts are our specialty, and we make sure you get exactly what you want. Bring in your own design or let our team create one for you. Promote your business, event, or club with pens, caps, bottles, mugs, and more.
Creating cool since 1985.
Take it away, Rubio.
Focus up. I'm talking to all the people out there that aren't actually thinking with their brains. MD and Chef just put, people forgot how to think, and you are 100%. If you are watching just mainstream media, you got to get some independent sources in there, or at least talk to some people who have independent sources who can kind of clear you in on this. Because if you are just watching just NBC, CBS, ABC, any of those, and that's all you're getting, holy hell, you are in a bubble, and it's not a good bubble. All right, welcome back to episode 80. You can comment on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X. I don't think it's on Instagram. It'll be on TikTok, and it'll be on iTunes and Spotify tomorrow. We love all your comments. If you have any questions, you can feel free to shoot them into Rubio at therubiomethod.com, or just leave them live. That's fine. We don't care. We're all good with it. There are winners and losers in life. I just finished a book. It's right here, called Good Energy by Casey Means. It's disturbing to say the least. And I wanted to talk about it, and amongst other things, with two of my favorite people from New Zealand and all over the world, which is odd because I've never met them. But if I ever did meet them, I would give them the biggest Rubio hug. But they are absolutely fantastic at what they do. They just finished their show. So make sure when you guys are done watching this, or you can just pause it if you want because we're live, and just go to MD and Chef and on YouTube and subscribe. They do a great show. You will leave happy and knowledgeable. I've never left their show without learning something and without smiling. And if you go to their show and watch an entire hour, and if you don't laugh or learn something, I don't know what to tell you. You got problems. You've been asleep the entire time. So Jenna, bring on MD and Chef. We got to have a conversation about some food.
You're funny.
Whoa, we got to come in here.
Tighten up a little. Tighten up. Guys, welcome. I appreciate your time. You guys are the best.
We got to tighten up. Oh my gosh, I don't know.
That's okay. We
this?
can do this.
All right. We can pull it off.
You guys, MD's on he's the dude. No, MD's on the right. That's the girl. Chef is the dude. All right. Now, they've got a great show. I've talked about it countless times. I talk about it literally every show. And you guys are always talking about your big thing is looking upstream and not downstream. Okay. MD, can you explain that in probably 30 seconds real quick? What do you mean by upstream and not downstream?
First of all, thank you so much. You're so funny. Upstream. So, we don't have a healthcare system. We've got disease management, and everybody thinks, okay, I'll just go to the doctor and get a pill. Well, that's getting downstream. That's taking care of the problem downstream. When you don't have to have the downstream diabetes, cancer, high blood pressure, you can actually start preventing it by looking upstream. So that's what we teach, is teaching people how to take care of themselves upstream before the downstream event happens, because it's hard.
Yeah, it's very hard. And you have led me right into a perfect transition, because there's this lady on social media called Food Babe. I forgot to look up her real name, but she's phenomenal. And she's been in front of Congress, and she's just letting it rain over and over. Yeah, right there, beating you lies. And she's got so much great content out. And when she went on there, and I've been trying to get you guys on for about a month, because she had this little cereal demonstration. And I said, holy hell, I saved the video. I sent it to Jenna. I go, when MD and Chef are on, I'm going to talk about this. So Jenna, please play that video for us.
But with artificial food dyes, they have shown all over the world that they can use colorants that come from fruit.
This is the Canadian version.
This is the brightness of the Canadian version, just for visibility. And this is the brightness of artificial food dyes. So, of course, Kellogg and other food companies will argue children prefer this over this, just as they would prefer cocaine over sugar. That doesn't make it okay.
But I think
that I said, I like even rubbed my eyes, and I was checking the color of my TV. I was like, there's no way that is real. And she was on, I think, for at least a day or two. And then she's got this big campaign against Kellogg's right now. But Doc and Chef, how is this legal? I mean, what the hell? You look at that, and that's obviously, one is completely not normal, and one is just cereal, which you probably shouldn't be eating a lot of anyway. But the one that looks like a damn, 1980s movie with all the neon, that's a code red, right?
All righty. Well, let me give you the facts here, Rubio, because I know you're a fact man. You only deal in facts. So this has got to do with the USA. So in the USA, an ingredient manufacturer is the only one that really has to approve the ingredient. The FDA has nothing to do with it. The FDA has said that, well, there's just not, they don't have enough resources to try to approve every food ingredient.
My ass.
The manufacturer makes an ingredient. They could submit what's called a GRAS, which is a generally recognized as safe. Their scientists give themselves a GRAS. Now, once that GRAS comes out and says generally recognized as safe, let's say it's chemical XYZ, or XYZ, as you say over there, that if they give it a GRAS, then it's a green light. And that GRAS, it's not even mandatory. They don't have to give it to the FDA. They can give it to the FDA or not to have a look at. Then the FDA, if they decide to have a look at it, then they say, oh, yep, that's cool, that's good. Or they can say, I don't know, we got questions about that product. Then the food manufacturer can pull that GRAS from the FDA and act like it never happened, and they can go ahead and continue to sell that product.
Okay, number one, I'm assuming they're paying for the entire scientists.
Yes, the company.
So, okay, I'm going to hire you two to be my scientist and say, Rubio, this Rubio cereal that's neon purple, okay, you're going to say it's approved. And you're going to say, GRAS, fantastic, because I'm going to pay you $1 million. Number two, can you pull that up again, Jenna, from Ethan? I really appreciate you guys talking about this subject. It's hard to find good information on proper nutrition out there. Hell yeah, Ethan, 100%. Number two, what the hell is the point of the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration? That should be the code red of, hey guys, no, this is going to make you grow a tail. Don't eat it.
The word from the FDA is they say they don't want to waste government resources on this type of an area. There's just not enough resources to try to approve every product that comes out. So now we know there's somewhere around 60,000 chemicals in the USA foods, and like over in Europe, there's about 400 that have been approved. And this is how it happens.
But okay, I hate to be Whitney Houston, but teach the children, let them lead the way. Like cereal is a kid-consumed product, 95% of it, besides, let's say drunk college guys. But it's one of those where cereal, that's teaching the people. I mean, didn't the government put them in charge to protect the people? This seems like they're doing the exact opposite.
Yeah, well, they're letting the companies basically be the police of their own products. And of course, we can imagine what happens there. I mean, there's basically no control. They can decide whether, oh yeah, this is good, it's okay. I mean, when you look at the wording and all the research, we now know that these types of food dyes, these colors, like you showed in that cereal, those food dyes, they always say in the research may cause, and some of them may causes because they're all afraid of the researchers are afraid of being sued. They never say will cause. They have to say may cause. May cause, one of the biggies is with childhood hypertension, childhood restlessness, childhood mood disorders. So there's all this information about that. Another biggie is cancers, may cause cancer. Now, the food manufacturers in response, and you can see this on all this stuff online, is the food manufacturers will say, well, and it's our research shows that it's below the level, it's in the levels of acceptable for cancer. Well, the problem is, yes, if you have one bowl of that cereal, it's not going to give you cancer. But if you're eating that bowl of cereal for breakfast for a couple decades, yeah, you're starting to now overwhelm your immune system with cancer-causing agents. And okay, now we got a problem. So that's really what's happening.
Okay, so Jenna is showing pictures, U.S. version versus U.K. version versus Australian version, and the U.S. version is holy hell. It looks like words you can't even understand. We've got 10,000 more ingredients. So this question goes to Doc. Doc, when you look at this, do you just think this is all downstream? Like we're just trying to get our kids hopped up on as many quote unquote drugs and things. And no wonder why either they're depressed or they're hyper or they're doing this, because you're looking at it and going, hey man, just stop giving them this shit. We'll be fine. And just give them some fruit or, some healthy bread. And maybe you won't have 97% of the kids with ADHD or whatever.
Do you know how hard that is for parents to take in? Because they believe they're doing the best. They're led to believe that they're doing the best for their kids. My kid eats a healthy diet, but I mean, it's going to take time to turn the Titanic. It will happen. I'm glad you're talking about it. It needs to happen because this is the downstream event. We've got childhood cancer, childhood ADHD. We've got so many people on Ritalin. It's absolutely unnecessary. And the suffering is unnecessary.
Well, yeah, and when you start doing the research on it, and who was that lady that you talked about last time, who was on Rogan, the Stanford doctor, her and her brother?
The book you read, Dr. Means.
Jesus, I brought it up. You got me too fired up. You need to go watch this lady on Joe Rogan. Holy hell, it'll blow your mind, because there's so many things that are so obvious, and how the medical industry has just become so monetarily driven, where, okay, your kid's 8 years old, he's 150 pounds. Let's give him this med, or let's let him get outside and try to walk and just give him some fruit. I mean, being you guys a doc and a chef, does that, I wish I had hair so I could pull it out.
I wanted to say how, in the last segment you did about El Trumpo, we talked about how people don't think anymore. They're just kind of hearing things and they go with it. What we don't understand is what's behind all this is the fact that the tobacco industry in the 1980s saw the tobacco industry just bottoming out, because all of a sudden we had to put warning labels on tobacco, cigarettes and everything, and they were just losing it. Well, now 50% of the world's food companies are now owned by tobacco companies. So the big tobacco companies, smart of them, in the 80s and 90s started buying up like the Kellogg's and all these big companies that we hear about, food companies, but they're actually owned by tobacco companies, the J.R. Reynolds, and there's a few other ones. They just went and they said, okay, well, we're going to switch this habit, this thing that we've got people, this addiction of tobacco, we're going to switch it to food.
And you're going to do it. We're going to do it because we're going to bring our scientists that help get people hooked on tobacco, get them hooked on to this stuff.
On the food. So we always tell people, well, it's not your fault. They've got scientists working against you to figure out what the crunch point is of a Doritos, so that there's no way you can eat one Dorito. They know from their scientific research what the food taste is, what chemicals they can put in, what's going to ignite you for that cocaine, exactly what your video showed. Because it is cocaine to the human brain. When you have a Dorito, it's just boom. Oh my gosh, that was amazing. I've got to have a couple more. And it's all scientifically done.
It's almost, I don't even want to say the word almost, it's evil.
It is evil.
Oh, that's the perfect word. It is evil.
It is evil.
That's why we're doing what we're doing, because we know evil, we know good. We got to let the people know without telling them, just letting them understand. You have choices you can make.
Okay, so Doc and Chef, I'm going to let you go pretty soon here, but where can people find you guys? Okay, and is there any? I'm assuming you guys have all this information. They can just go to you, and you're just going to be vomiting great information.
Well, not vomiting.
Well, hey, from a website point of view, you can find us on doctoronthemission.com. That's DOCTOR on a mission.com, and us on social media at Doctor on a Mission. Just check us out on any social media channels, or join us on the ND and Chef Team show on those social media channels just before the Rubio show. And we're out there educating. We're in a fight. We're in a fight for people's health right now, because everything has just gone downhill with people's health, mental health, brain health, physical health. It's gone downhill, and we're in a fight. We're in a fight for everybody, and we're here to help out for optimal health.
I agree. Doc and Chef, this will not be the last time you guys are on my show, because I know people are going to want to hear more and more and more on this. And the more I dive into it, the more I'm just like, holy hell, this is, like I said, this is beyond evil at this point.
It is evil.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad you're talking about it, because you can share that with other people to help them wake up. Like we can infect people with the truth.
Absolutely.
This is evil.
I appreciate it. Everyone go to doctoronamission.com. Check them out on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and all that stuff. Dave Bradley says we can win 100%.
Fight.
Go watch their show. You will have a good time. I promise you. doctoronamission.com. Thanks again, guys. Jenna, I'm out.
You have been watching The Rubio Method.
Hi, Joel Maurer, founder of Dink Ninjas. Dink Ninjas was dreamed up and started right here in Austin, Texas, a dynamic pickleball community. We arm pickleballers with the paddles, apparel, and accessories to dink like a ninja. Dink Ninjas is dedicated to supporting mental health awareness and cancer research. Shop our full lineup at dinkninjas.com.
Take it away, Rubio.
Focus up. I'm talking to the Dodgers, the Los Angeles Dodgers. Welcome to the World Series. Big game on Friday night against the Yankees. Hopefully you guys do a great job, and RIP Fernando Valenzuela. If you don't know who Fernando Valenzuela is, look up a book. Okay. Fernando Mania, the 80s, absolutely phenomenal. Welcome back. My name is Chris Rubio. This is episode 80 of the Rubio Method, doconamission.com. Those guys are just, they make me feel good every time I see them. They're so full of knowledge. Like I'm telling you, go check out their website, go check out their YouTube channel. They do great work. Phenomenal. All right. Accept and embrace. Remember I told you guys a couple years back when I first moved to Idaho, so this must have been about 17 years ago. I moved up in the winter, coming from LA, people in LA always wear these shoes called rainbow sandals. They just standard, I don't want to say thongs because you think underwear, but sandals. I guess they're just, you put the little toe strap in between your toe, whatever, just sandals. You've seen them 1,000 times on the beach. And so I'm wearing those, and I didn't have a car here at any point. And my wife, or she was my girlfriend at the time, pulls out of the driveway, and she's going up the driveway and leaving. And I see that she left her cell phone. Being the hero that I am, I grab her cell phone, and it's probably December, so it's been cold all night, but I'm from LA, I know nothing. I open up the front door, and I see her car pulling away. So I start running as fast as I can. We have this nice little, it's probably 3 feet front porch. Then it goes down 3 steps. Then it's got, 4 feet of just landing pad, or I don't know what the hell you'd call it. And I ran full speed, which is, I'll give it to you, not very fast, but for me at that point, it was fast. And I had no idea that at night, when it's cold, things ice over. And so, like I've told you before, I took the first step and whoom, I flew. It must have been probably about, well, it had to been at least 5 feet because I missed all 3 steps. And I landed straight on my back because I was running on ice and I had no idea. Luckily, no one saw me. I had to swallow my pride a little. And yes, I did tell this story several times to my wife, and obviously I'm telling it again right now. And I told it before on the Rubio method. But it was one of those things where I had to learn to swallow my pride and talk about certain things that I didn't know about. And if there was things that could help me, swallow my pride again and be willing to take them, be willing to do it. And I was just talking to Jenna about this because we were talking about this segment before the show, and she started laughing at me. She's like, what are you talking about, Rubio? What are you talking about pride? And I said, well, I just don't understand, because I know a lot of people that say how pride can be a very dangerous thing. It can kill your life. And I'm not saying that pride is going to swallow your throat and kill you and blah, 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 but I'm saying it can make you not live your life. For instance, I know a lot of people that need hearing aids and they won't get them. And I just don't understand the point of, you can't hear. And there's technological advances that allow you to stick I guess the size of a pencil eraser in your ear, and then you can hear. Do you look a little older because you're wearing hearing aids? Maybe. Can you hear? Yeah. So who cares if you look kind of like an idiot, which I don't even think you look like an idiot now. Now I know they go up in price to like 10 grand, I think, because I know they have like Bluetooth, you can answer your phone and all that. But they get them smaller and smaller. But why do you care? What do you care if someone else looks at you weird? And then back to what Jenna mocking me, I said, I'm one of my only friends that I know that does not need readers. Readers for all you young people, or people like when you're starting to read something, all of a sudden you can't see up close, so you put on those little library glasses or whatever. My wife needs them, and she's got like 77 pairs because she goes to the dollar store and buys 77 pairs and loses them every 5 seconds. And I said to Jenna, which then she mocked me, if I needed readers, I would just get the ones that click at the front. I think they're actually called Click It. And Jenna bellowed out laughing at me like a very rude person that she is. And I said, Jenna, do you understand that I don't care? I will be wholeheartedly getting the Click It or Rip It or whatever the hell they're called. I should get a sponsor, because as soon as I need those, boom, they're there. And you know what? And then when I need them, I click them right here. Will I look like an idiot? I don't care. Jenna just laughed out loud again. She said, she's double rude. I just don't understand it. Or if you need a wheelchair because you can't walk, get a wheelchair. There's literally an invention to help you with wheels to get your booty to where it needs to go. And don't get me wrong, I understand being vain is one thing, but losing life because you're not willing to look a little bit like a jackass, in your own words, that's even worse to me. I'd rather look like a jackass and live my life, okay, and then not live my life and not look like a jackass. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'll be wearing my Click-Its. Jenna, look those up. It's like having mittens with a string attached. I learned that too, Jenna, when I moved it up here. I had no idea that that was an actual thing, that people attach their little mittens to the ends of their jackets. I didn't know that was a thing. No one tells me anything. You don't learn this stuff in California. All right, let's move along. Working hard is not enough. Oh my gosh, there has been a big couple studies going around about Gen Z. Gen Z is basically, I agree, Rubio, when people did start caring so much, enjoy life. Varnell, perfect intro to Varnell. Big generation, Gen Z, they're no longer dating. So I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring on a Gen Z dude, and we're going to talk about it. Jenna, can you bring on Kyle Varnell? Kyle Varnell is a great human being. What's up, Kyle?
How are you, Rubio?
How old are you now?
27.
So 27. So I've known you for at least a decade.
Yes, since about 2011 or 12, I think.
Okay, and then I did not do my research. Jenna, can you look up real quick what are the exact birth dates of Gen Z? I want to say it's like probably 85 through some. When were you born, Kyle?
I was 96. I am like on the cusp.
Okay, so yeah, you're right on the cusp. Jenna, check that out for me. All right, so Kyle, let's talk about this. You're Gen Z. It says 63% in this study of men aged 1997 through 2012. So you're basically right there. 63% of men aged 18 to 29 say they're single. 63%. They have Gen Z men given up on dating. All right, that's my first question. My second question is, are apps to blame? So what do you think about this? What's going on? You texted me something earlier. What do you have to say about this?
Well, I think the issue right now is, like I said to you earlier, the grass is always greener. I mean, you can go on any app, any TV show, anything, and you're going to see a new beautiful girl or handsome man, and you're just going to see that every day as a guys or girls. So it's girls maybe always looking for the next. And then guys are, I can't compete with this, whatever this is. So it's just a lot of different back and forth. And maybe I also think maybe people aren't meeting at the right places. Everyone goes to the bars to meet, and you might not find your wife at the bar.
Yeah, there's something for being casual and having a beer blanket and some beer courage, so you're going to meet someone at the bar. But what you're saying basically is, okay, so say I live in a town of 30,000. Okay, which I do. I live in Lewiston, Idaho, town of 30,000. If there was no apps, and not that I'm looking because I'm happily married, if it's one of those things that I would experience 30,000 people, well, not even that many, because I would only experience people that are my age group. I'm, not picking up on 70-year-olds, nothing against 70-year-old women, but, there it is. Okay. And, 20-somethings. But now you're saying that my reach is no longer 30,000. It's, well, hell, it could be 300,000. It could be whatever I look. And yeah, you could be the hottest girl on Lewiston, but once you open it up to Lewiston and now Boise, then you're kind of screwed, maybe not in a good way, because now you're like you said, holy hell, the grass is greener because, yeah, my girlfriend's a smoke show or my boyfriend's a smoke show, but Jesus, look at the eyes on her.
It's an interesting world right now.
Okay. Another study shows for every 1,000 unmarried adults, only 33 got married. Jesus. That number was 35 a decade ago. And in 1970, it was 86%. So why do you think the generation you're in right now is so late to get married? And I'm on that note, I'm a proponent of it. I think I've told you, literally, I just told you 3
I'm
weeks
right there
ago.
with you, Rubio. Right there with you.
I said to you, I want you to get married at 30, right around 30. In your 20s, I always say, go be stupid. Obviously, if you find the love of your life, it can happen. I know a couple couples that have had that happen, but odds are it's not forever in your favor, Hunger Games style. So what's the reasoning there?
I mean, one, we can't afford it. That's like the main reason right now. A lot of people are staying home. They don't have extra money to spend. And like you said, you have it at your fingertips. A lot of these guys don't want to go out. The whole article talked about how this had a huge decline during COVID. And honestly, I think a lot of people, and mainly guys, learned, wait, no one's yelling at me because I have this stupid picture on my wall and I get everything I need and I'm living my life. I've lived 2 years by myself. Do I really need someone that wants to come and change how I live? It's hard.
Okay, so that's actually a pretty good answer. So, okay, but I'm going to give you the philosophical question of the whole thing. When people aren't getting married or they're not having kids, the population, as Elon Musk always says, it's going down. So how is there a way to fix this, or do we not fix it? Do we just keep rolling this app train? Because I don't see it surviving.
I mean, at the end of the day, you're going to get married. You're going to have a kid. I feel like it's just later right now because for some reason our age group I feel like the people I know are very career oriented. So it's the last thing on their mind. And then this progressive left-winging girls I'm strong. I don't need a man. So that also is a huge factor into it. And I mean, girls don't cook or clean anymore, and I'm not going to settle for someone that wants me to do literally everything, provide and do that. So It's kind of hard, actually. So I think guys are starting to be more picky because they're realizing they can be.
Okay, so you're obviously going from a male, more alpha macho perspective, and that's fine. You can do whatever you want, but you're looking for a very specific type of girl that will fit that mold, because there's going to be I guarantee right now, 50% of the audience right now just said, "Oh my God, he's a jackass," and 50% of the audience went, "I got a girl for him." And are you okay with that?
I'm a Christian Southern man. What do you want from me?
Okay, so what are you looking for? What is Gen Z 27-year-old Varnell looking for? You already explained it. You want someone to kind of basically take care of you a little bit.
Yeah, like what kind of Harrison Butker said. I mean, I want a girl that's career oriented, but also knows that down the line, the family is very important. I want somewhat athletic, takes care of themselves, works out, like-minded, and then also has their own hobbies. You can do your own thing. We don't need to be together 24/7, 365. You go do your hobbies, do your workouts, hang out with your friends. I have my friends, and we come together. It's kind of what I'm looking for. And there's a lot of girls that are either you're their life, or there's other girls that are interested in you but won't give you the time of day. So it's a lot. And I really do think COVID caused that. I think a lot of separation anxiety kind of happened because, I mean, guys are kind of sleazy too with all the apps, like you said. Everything's at the touch of your fingers.
Okay, so now Jenna's saying it's so hard to find great guys, LOL. So, okay, I'll be the proud Papa Bear. I've got my Southern Belle daughter right here. I don't have a daughter. I've got 3 boys. What does Kyle Varnell, 27-year-old Gen Z, bring to the table? Because, yeah, you want all of this, okay? So what do you offer besides being 6'5", tons of fun?
I own a home, so that's pretty big.
Yeah.
I have a good job. I make good money, and I feel like I have good family, good values. So, I mean, it's a lot you can bring to the table. And then, it's also my views and everything I want in life as well, more than anybody.
Well, so, I know, but I'm not trying to date. I'm setting you up right now.
You're right. Sorry. Dating your daughter. Have her home early, of course. But yeah, like I said, good family. You got a good job, own a home. I mean, that's a lot to the table. I feel like I provide fairly well. So, like that's where I'm going in the right direction. Don't know if I'm ready yet, but I know I have a couple more years. 30. We're getting to 30.
Yeah, you're getting there. So Varnell, if anyone wants to find you, they can find you on social media.
At Kyle Varnell, kept it true to the brand. If I don't find a girl, I'll just go on The Bachelor. That's my next trip. So I'll let you know how that goes.
Phenomenal on The Bachelor.
That's my next. That's my next sign up.
Oh, he would be so good. And that would force me to watch it because Jolie watches all those crap Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Detroit, whatever the hell they are. And I just walk by and I roll my eyes. But if you were on The Bachelor, you'd have to be the main guy. So you'd be the Bachelor. You wouldn't do the Bachelorette.
Well, I'd have to go through that route to become.
Oh, is that how it works?
You got to be on The Bachelorette to start up. You got to make it pretty far, and the fans going to like you to become The Bachelor. Usually
okay, well, hopefully someone's watching and can set you up for like at least an interview because I feel like you would crush it.
I would love to go on The Bachelor. I feel like I did win in high school. My superlative was most likely to be on a reality TV show. So I feel like I should fulfill that at this point.
Oh, 100%. But Nana Mona says, I feel bad for you guys. All the good girls are gone. Okay, it could be. Of course, that's Jenna's mom. So she's putting Jenna as a bad girl. Just throwing that out there. Of course, Jenna did laugh at me about my Clicker thing. Varnell, what do you think about my Clicker glasses if I was wearing those? Would you laugh at me?
Actually, one of my bosses has those, and it's actually pretty. You don't lose them. You just have them on your neck when you need them.
Boom.
I respect. I'm in for it.
Convenience is key, my man. Varnell,
they don't get it. It's a guy thing.
Varnell, I appreciate you coming on. If you guys want to hook up with him or have daughters that would like to go on a date with Varnell, he's in the Nashville area. His name is Kyle Varnell. He's 6'5", and he's got a great personality. Varnell, I really appreciate you coming on. We've got one segment. Jenna, I'm out.
You have been watching The Rubio Method. Take it away, Rubio.
Focus up. I'm talking to you, Whitney Haruza, out at One Shot Charlie's. You do a great job. And keep sending me podcasts. You do a great job of sending me some wild podcasts. Also, podcasts that you'd like to download is the Rubio Method, of course. It's on iTunes, Spotify, X, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We're all over the place. If you guys have any questions for episode 80 or beyond, you can email rubio@therubiomethod.com. Jenna, we're on the final home stretch. This is confidence is the key. Miami quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, I can never pronounce his name. He's had some issues, and I wanted to talk about those issues with someone that I call Nasty. Jenna, bring on Nasty.
Hey, Rubio, how are you doing?
Doing well. Sheldon, how do you pronounce your last name?
Okay, it's a Ukrainian name, so you have to pronounce it as such. It is Napaschuk or Napaschuk originally. Napaschuk. My wife always introduced me as Napas the ball, Chuck the ball. Napaschuk.
Okay, see, that's good. Napaschuk. I got that. See, that's very easy. I like that as well. Nasty, before we even get to the meat of this, I just wanted to say yet again, and I don't know what you do, but your hair looks phenomenal.
I guess I got to thank my grandparents. My grandpa had my other grandpa was Norwegian and had the long wavy hair, and I just got his hair, I guess. So yeah,
I watch you every Tuesday night from at 9:30 or 10, whatever time you guys are going, and I always think to myself, don't get me wrong, I have a great shaped head.
You do.
I love bald, but if I had hair, I feel like I would want your style because it always looks like you kind of got the wind machine going in front of you. / it's the perfect amount of gel mousse. I don't know what people put on their hair. What do you put on that?
Just the kind of clay stuff that my wife picks up from Walmart. I'm not a fancy guy. In fact, I'm wearing my readers, and I wear my readers with pride. And I have 3 pairs sitting here, and I threw my yellow to honor you and your brand colors tonight, Rubio.
Okay, so now would you make fun of me if I had the click of things?
No, dude. The last guest was talking about like being a guy, and I think what's sexy about guys is guys that don't care but just get things done. I don't love you love my hair. I don't love the fact that I wear these readers, and I know this. If I look here, you get a glare in my glasses. I hate that, but you know what? They work. I need them to see the notes in front of me, so I'm just going to do it. And you want to criticize me? No problem. You think it's great? No problem. I'm just doing me.
See, that's because you're oozing confidence, Nasty. That you're oozing confidence, and that's why we get along so well. And that's why we get along with Randy, even though he's a disgusting pig on a plane. Which
my God, yeah.
I don't want to talk about it with him because it just makes me it pisses me off. All right, so we're talking about confidence is the key. As you know, we already talked about it. Tua Tagovailoa of the Miami Dolphins. He has had missed 10 games in the last 2 years. I think his concussion is up to, it's got to be 5 concussions in at least the last 3 years. For those that don't know what Tua looks like, Jenna, can you throw up that picture of Tua? And the big thing is now he just got knocked out. And this was probably, at this point, 4 to 5 weeks ago. And it was his own fault. Ironically, he ran headfirst into Damar Hamlin, who literally died on the field several years ago. But Tua, number one, don't be an idiot, slide. Number 2, he's coming back, which I honestly thought, okay, this dude's going to retire. There's only so many concussions one can get before you start just scrambling, and you're talking like Muhammad Ali at the end. So that's not a good thing. But now, Jenna, can you show up the next pic? He said that he's not going to wear one of these Guardian caps. So for those that are listening on iTunes and Spotify, a Guardian cap, there's a picture with it right now. It's just your normal helmet. And then just imagine a condom on a helmet that's filled with cottage cheese and extra foam is what it looks like. And so he said, I'm not wearing that, personal preference. Nasty, what are your thoughts on this? Because I go both ways on my thinking for what this guy's doing.
Yeah, well, that's a great question. So for those that don't know, I never played in the NFL. I tore off a pec my last year of college, and I ended up playing in the Canadian Football League for 8 years. But I will tell you this: when I look at a guy like Tua, I feel for him to get from where he was at, from family of multiple children in Hawaii, to leading his high school, to becoming a 4-star prospect. His whole life he had to bet on himself, and more than just betting on himself, he had to believe that he would get there come hell or high water. And you think back to his Alabama days and what it went through just getting that starting job, and then falling back in the draft to number 5, granted.
Yeah.
This is a guy that has been all in on himself and his abilities his entire career. If you ask, I think, any guy from my generation that played, would you change anything up if it risked your opportunity? Not so much about the way you looked. My big thing would be, if I was throwing a different helmet, would I hit the same? When I was a nose tackle, my head hit under the center's chin guard, would it pop up the same way, or would it cushion the blow? I can't do anything that would cushion the blow. Second of all, I don't believe I'm really going to get hurt. I've seen a lot of guys that have played for a lot of years and have had concussions. You know what? They're fine, right? And so you have this feeling of an invincibility that that I'm going to be fine. And further than that, you feel like if I change one thing that I've done from the time I was 10 years old, throwing 30-yard passes in Hawaii when my friends couldn't do it, to the point that I went number 5 in the NFL draft, and that I'm leading, setting records in the NFL as a young player. Will I change one thing? I think his biggest fear is that he sells himself out, or he'll look at himself differently. And that's it. And the truth, Chris, is that is true. So much of this game is mental, right?
Oh, God.
But you know what is also true? You can really mess yourself up.
See, you're talking the exact same way I am, where you're arguing both points. Because, and my apologies for not, I got so into just talking that I forgot to introduce a Canadian football legend, monster, 6'5", 285 pounds. He played D-line. And that's why I'm talking about concussions, because we've obviously all been there, done that. And like you said, though, Tua comes from the island of Hawaii, probably started throwing coconuts. He's not a large human being. I think he's about 6'1". He's not your prototypical Tom Brady, 6'4", 6'5", 220 pounds. I mean, he's probably 6'1", probably 230, 225. And he's had to fight an uphill battle the entire time. And like you said, when we were taught, I remember specifically being taught the screws of my face mask were supposed to go underneath the guy's chin. Yeah. I can't even tell you how many times at UCLA, Coach Nunley, who I think just passed, he would yell. He had this gravelly voice, and he would say, "Screws in hands, screws in hands, screws in hands." And that was the whole thing. You get your screws under his chin and your hands on their tits. If you can get screws in hands, that was the number one thing.
And that's not just attitude, that's physics.
100%.
Right? That's the way the game was designed to be played. And quarterbacks also know when to get those extra yards, there's times when I have to lay out and I have to take the hit. I'll tell you, every quarterback that grew up in our generation paid some horrible prices to make sure they got the first down and kept the chains moving. He's a throwback guy. But back to the point again is it takes that mindset to come from a family of 4 or 5 boys on the island of Hawaii to being the biggest new thing in the NFL. It takes that commitment and that obsession. But there's a price that's going to be paid. Is that price worth it, Rubio? Well, I'll tell you what, when you're a young man, what is he, 26, 25?
Yeah, very young.
He's a young guy. And at this point, all he wants to do is fulfill the dream that he had. Now, all of us were young and dumb at one point in our life where we do that. That's where you see a lot of abuses to your body, overtraining, drugs, like all the stuff that you would see that comes as a byproduct of wanting to make it to the best league in the world. And unfortunately, I don't think anybody can change his mind. Like, his mom's not going to change his mind. All right, mom, I'm fine. His wife, hey, the reason you love me is because I go after this stuff. My belief is it's not until you have kids that you start thinking about your mortality. Because this guy right now at this point in his life, what was that statement I saw him make last night? I love football to the death of me.
Yeah.
He will not stop until he achieves every dream he has. As big of a star as he is, do you think he feels like a star right now?
Well, and there's also the old adage where you never want to hear, you never want to say to yourself, what if? Because the whole what if I had done more? What if to play devil's advocate, you could say it both ways on this one. Like, what if I did wear the Guardian cap? I would be able to play for another 5 years. Or if we say he does retire, what if I didn't retire and I go out there? Okay. Or what if I didn't retire and I go play and I get knocked out? But at this point, AC Sports Live was talking about it last night. I would have to assume there's going to be a almost a permanent red jersey on him from defenders. Don't get me wrong. There's going to be some crazy asses that want to take him out. But he's coming down through the line. There's not going to be very many people that are going to lower their head and try to go at him. They're going to be like, let me grab you like a flag football and throw you down gently. Because I think is not the last concussion, but the one before it.
Where he got whipped around.
Well, it's not even, he got up, he was all cockeyed.
Yeah.
But with the onslaught of turf, people don't understand that most concussions come when a kid gets tackled and then boom, their head hits like that and it hits on the turf. And even now that it's softer turf, I'm sure back in the day you played on same type of turf that I did. It was like 5th grade school carpet with a layer.
Yeah, the old AstroTurf.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. And
so, but Rubio, that's where I think that the crux of this comes. I'm not glorifying that mindset. I'm saying all young guys that make it have that mindset. And I think but the second you have kids, you start thinking about, I need to be there in 2 years, in 5 years. It changes everything about your approach to the game. So what I'm saying is, I think if we're going to see real effectual change, I would love to see him in either a Guardian helmet. I know he's actually agreed to switch to a helmet that's got that softer material, the best helmet that's been designed for quarterbacks for concussions. But it's not until we see the league come down and mandate this that players are going to adopt it, unfortunately. I'm 50. I would love to see players protect their heads. I wish somebody would have had me protect my head. But the truth is, in the 1970s and 80s, in the NHL, a Canadian guy, going to talk about the NHL, guys didn't wear helmets.
Yeah.
Rubio, in the 60s, goalies didn't wear masks.
Yeah, that's insane.
They had to make a decision. If that puck's coming at me at this speed, I think I can block it with my head. Right? You know, you think about it, and some guys would have for the Stanley Cup or playing against those great series against Russia back in the days, right?
Well, they were probably hoping that the puck hit him in the mouth so they'd get a broken jaw so they wouldn't have to eat poutine.
Dude, I'll tell you, I agree with a lot that you have to say, Chris, but when it comes to poutine, you and I mean, we're on opposite ends of the spectrum. I love poutine. Same reason I love turkey. I love that gravy.
Okay, so you're 25-year-old, 26-year-old Tua. What are you doing? You've got no kids. You are married. You've got no kids, and you're young and stupid. You don't know what 50-year-old Nasty knows.
Yeah. He's going to do what he's doing now. The team's come down hard enough on him. They've been mandating. They're not mandating him. They've been pushing him. He's agreed to take on a helmet he's never worn before. And trust me, even changing your equipment is a real mind. It just messes with your mind, right? But he's agreed to do that, and I hope he sticks with it. The other thing I think is this Guardian cap is just the start of it. We're addressing the issue. We've recognized the issue. We're addressing it. Yeah, it looks a little funny. I probably wouldn't have thrown it on either at that age, but right now, if I went back, I'd be wearing it every single day. It may take the league mandating a new system, and the funny thing about this, Rubio, is as goofy as people think it looks. 5 years from today, when they address this problem and it's league wide, it'll be the same as the NHL guys in the 70s that never wore helmets. It will look archaic to play this game and not have proper headgear on.
Well, and I think that's all fine and dandy, but I think if the NFL was truly, truly, truly interested in slowing the concussion rate down, they would do exactly what soccer does. Soccer, when they come over here to play friendlies, the big Premier Leagues, they do not play on turf. They will mandate that they play on only grass. So if concussions are that big of a deal, you can keep wearing these helmets that look like Jack in the Box head, or, you could just say, hey, let's remove all the turf, which they're never going to do because the quote unquote cost is too high. Okay. And it looks pretty. It looks a lot prettier than grass, obviously. But it's one of those things. I guarantee if someone did a study, I would bet 70% of the concussions occur because of that damn turf.
You know what? That's an interesting point. But playing on the new field turf and different generations that over the years, I prefer it to grass because you're probably right. It's the head contact. Now, for me, I never got tackled backwards. I never hit my head on the back of the turf. It's always direct hits or side hits. But field turf comes with knee injuries. Grass comes with knee injuries. Slip an imperfect surface. I was a nose tackle, double played every play. Right, you're swimming, you're trying to split through a gap, and you're twisting your hips. And grass was horrible.
Yeah,
from a guy that played my position. Not horrible, but you weren't as fast. You weren't as quick as you could have been.
Yeah.
But, I think you're onto something that we've got to look at this from a holistic approach. Surface, headgear, footgear, rules. And they've done a great job in terms of back when we played, you're still allowed 3 steps before hitting the quarterback, right? As long as he's sort of somewhat in the motion, you got away with a late hit. They've done some good things to change it. But you know what? Maybe grass would be an answer. It definitely does cushion the blow when you land 100%.
Oh yeah, 100%. Well, I mean, when I was at UCLA, the rule didn't change until I think my senior year, where as a long snapper, they were allowed to line up on me and hit me before I moved my head. So, I mean, that's why I had my back problems, because they were just, as soon as I snapped it, boom. And then the first 2 plays of the game, whenever I went in, they would line up the 2 biggest, nastiest human beings just to destroy me. And they realized that they did it on purpose to be an intimidation factor. And if I submitted, like if I was scared, they got me. But my thought was, they're going to hit me regardless, so I might as well make a good snap. And so if I did the first 2 perfect, which of course they were, they would just go to the A gaps, because there was no point. Why waste your guy trying to go over number 64? Because you're just wasting a spot. Just go to the gaps and try to sneak through there. So, I mean, things do evolve, things change. I would be willing to bet, what is it, 2024? By 2035, I bet, like you said, either the helmets are drastically different or the Guardian cap is just a normal thing. And the rules, they keep changing. I don't want them to change too much, simply because it is football.
Though, but like, so from guys that came, and I'm I got 10 years on you, but the things we used to get away with from hitting quarterbacks, even when you tackle them and you arch your body, so when you land on them, that it's all in their rib cage, like stuff right now. When I look back to that stuff, it's horrible. It was stupid. Like the game of football back then was stupid. But we didn't know each other in 2007. Facebook and all that stuff was just kind of coming out, so you didn't know the guy as well as you know him today. But I promise, or what I was going to say is, now you look at the rules that protect quarterbacks. You know what? Guys can lay off quarterbacks. You can dead fish the second the ball comes out of his hands. It made the game better and it made the game safer. But to your point, there's more concussions than there ever has been before, and I don't know why. Something does have to be. They got to figure it out, and they got to make a change.
I would agree with you, Nasty. I appreciate you coming on. You guys can watch The Ride with Chevy and Nasty, 9:30 or 10 p.m. Pacific time on Tuesdays. Make sure you follow them. It's a great, great show. It talks about, I can't even tell you what it talks about, because it goes all over the damn place.
Stuff.
They just stuff.
Guy stuff.
And Nasty is the cleaner, more polite, more couth human being on an airplane, because he does not take his shoes off like Chevy does, and does not bring in teriyaki subs and reclines.
And I don't put my seat back into the guy's lap behind me, because that's just rude.
That's just, it's beyond rude. Nasty, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
You got it, Chris. Thank you.
All right, Jenna, let's go to the bottom line. The bottom line for all you new watchers and listeners on Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and X. It's all the stuff that you should have learned without even realizing you learned. Number 1, people will appreciate you for who you are, and if they don't, you don't need them in your life. People will appreciate you for who you are, and if they don't, you don't need them in your life. This goes back to the whole Kamala and Trump thing. Just be yourself, Trump. Just be yourself, Kamala. Very easy. Number 2, time to really keep an eye on what you put in your body. This is from Doc and Chef. What the hell? Just that picture of the video alone of the 2 cereals. And like I said, if you can, get a hold of this book, Good Energy by Casey Means, and make sure you watch her on Joe Rogan, and obviously watch Doc and Chef on YouTube. They do a great job. And number 3, it is your body, but be careful when it impacts others in your life. This obviously goes to Tua. It's his body. He's got to think about his family now as well. He's married. I do not believe he has any kids, but he's young. He's under 30, so he's just thinking like he's thinking. I mean, he's one of those, we've all been there, under 30, having a good time, and we're indestructible, so to speak. This was a great show, even though Jenna made fun of me throughout the entire thing. Like I said, if you have any questions, you can email Rubio at therubiomethod.com. Jenna, I'm out.
Thanks for watching The Rubio Method. Be sure to spread the word, and don't forget to subscribe, like, or follow on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Google, Amazon, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Thanks for watching The Rubio Method.